Hi, I'm Spreadsheet, and welcome to the second episode of Fixing UZ Ranks. It's been like 5 months since I've done this, so it's understandable if you've never known that I did this. Basically, we have this UZ tier list that I made in the last video, and what we're going to do is point out every single flaw that one of these boys and girls have, or whatever the heck this thing is, point out their flaw, and make a change to them. However, we have some ground rules to set up. First of all, no giving a character unity, because obviously, if you just gave this guy unity, he'd be amazing. However, we can't do that because that's just cheating and unfair. Number 2, we're only allowed to make one change to the character. For example, Yotsuba's kit is kind of mediocre. However, we cannot change her drop big to link big and then change her Soultimate as well. We are only allowed to make one change just to make this more interesting. And 3, this is a new rule. We have to make realistic changes. And by realistic, I mean we can't just give a second skill to Cat Cradle and have that second skill be, I don't know, starter ranged or something like that. You know, something ridiculous. With the ground rules laid out, we're just going to redo like all of them. So even though I've made changes to a lot of these characters, we're going to just go through it again because a lot of tribes have changed. So first off, Cat Cradle. An all popper that makes 8 bonus balls that increases the effect of bonus balls. Really, there is nothing salvageable about Cat Cradle. Best I can say is give Link Big, so that way you can essentially have help for Aqua without having to waste an Okyu's ultimate, because honestly, the whole purpose of Cat Cradle just kind of baffles me, because Aqua doesn't need help like this. Like, you might need a little extra help, in which case Okyu helps. Or Arlay, or, you know, something. Even Yusin, the double Z rank Unity character, is more valuable to bring than Cat Cradle. But we'll just move past that. Next up, Miku. She is she's not an Inflate 4. She's an all-popper rearranger with redrop and using other Soultimates has a chance to fill her Soultimate gauge by 20%. Last time I replaced her redrop with Fast Fever, and I guess we're just going to have to do that again because, like I said, since we're only allowed to make one change, that's the best we can do. I did it so that way Shady could have a Fast Fever, but now that they have Suisei, and the team doesn't really have room for her, she's kind of just doomed to forever be bad. So, yeah. Next up, Yotsuba, a select popper with drop big, and a large Puni has a 70% chance to fill her own Soultimate gauge. Last time, I made her a tap inflator because then she'd just be Triple Z Shuka, but on the same tribe as Big G. So we're just going to do that again because I think that would be really fun to have. A drop big tap inflator with literally just a Triple Z Land Shuka that is the same tribe as, technically Yuzi, a Yuzi rank with Land Shuka skill. That would be really fun. Next up, Hikoboshi Fudoma, one of the worst Nyanbos ever. This guy is an all-popper rearranger, isn't that strange, where using his ultimate is a 20% chance for any large Puni to fall, think Orihime Natsuyomi or Dalyu, and a size 6 Puni of his has a 50% chance to stun the enemy for 2 seconds, like Shinji or Earthwalker NOA. What we're going to do is replace this skill, using his soul can make any large Puni fall, and replace it with drop big. Basically, the whole reason for this is so that way you can just stun the enemy randomly, just every now and then, just because. He's not on the main team, and will never be on the main team. But, we might as well do that. I mean, if you want to give him just the normal 10-second stun instead, he still wouldn't be on the team, because then Boso Enma, you know, he's a Soultimate filler, so he's pretty good. So, I mean, maybe we could give him, make his Soultimate an Inflate 4, maybe? Then you could, spam him a couple of times, because he's a Nyanbo, so he'd have a high, or make him a Soultimate filler. You could also make him a Soultimate filler, that could be cool. But, yeah, he's kind of mediocre. Next up, Guardian Ren, an AoE Inflate 4, with Afterfill, and using other Soultimates can fill his Soultimate gauge by 20%. You can just make him not an AoE and make him an Inflate 4, but he'll still be very mediocre. So instead of this skill, we'll give him Prefill, or no, we'll give him Link Big. That way, he can be a damage dealer that just nukes AoEs. Imagine Lotus Ren, like Lotus Ren, but for AoEs. That could be what he does. That could be a decent niche for like challenge stages. Better than anything else they could do. Next up, Land of Ashes Ryuta, a fever-filled Soultimate filler with some other skill that I don't remember. Using other Soultimates has an 88% chance to fill his Soultimate gauge. He's fine. Like, really, there's not much we can do with him. Make him an Inflate 4, I guess. So that way you can get 3 Aqua Soultimates instead of just 1. I guess that's the best we can do. Make him an Inflate 4, then he'd be like in here somewhere, I guess. Next up is Black Hole Death. So this guy is very interesting. He's an all-popper Soultimate filler with Easy Link and Redrop. Funnily enough, the past 2 thrones we've had, being El Zemekia and Founding Dragon, are both attack boosters. However, this guy, who has a kit that would actually, if we just pull up Peko and go to the swimsuit Peko, you'll see they have the same skills. Yet if this guy, if he was just a tap, I keep saying a tap inflate. You could make him a tap inflator. He wouldn't be good though. You could make him an attack booster, and he would literally just be the same thing as Peko, but a UZ rank. That would be really good. And then Shady would have weirdly good boosters because they'd have this guy, then they'd have Peko, and then there's probably another attack booster in here. They have a Professor, Near Arthur Professor, I guess. So you could either make him an attack booster, or instead of redrop, give him pre-fill. Then he can help get a Jane Soultimate while also having Easy Link for budget fast fever. That could be useful, I guess. Next up, Full Bloom U, a drop big revive select popper. Like I did last time, give her either Inflate 4 or stacking. Making her a stacking all popper would really just not do anything. Or you could make her a Soultimate filler. Literally just be Mercury Death, but with less LBs, but revive. That would be insane. Make her a Soultimate filler? That would be pretty good. Imagine how good the, friggin', what's it called? What is it? The Dragon Slayers mono team? With this guy, Triple Z, well, it wouldn't really work too well because your Fever Extender would also be a U. But, make her a Soultimate filler? That's pretty good. Next up, Maximus K, Guts F. This guy is an all-popper healer that heals 820 HP. Using his Soultimate has a 20% chance for Big Puni to fall. I'm not sure if this is everyone's or just his. I'm fairly certain it's everybody's. And then a size 4 or a larger Puni gives the attack buff. It's the attack boost skill. He's really mediocre. We can do multiple things. His Soultimate is fine. 820 HP is quite a lot. We can either give him drop big instead of this, so then he can just be constantly buffing up the attack while you wait for Megumin's Soultimate to fire. That could be a niche. We can also make him not have the attack buff skill, and instead give him we can give him all popper heal. So that way, no, not all popper heal, just pop heal. So that way we can, after you use his Soultimate and heal 820 HP, you can pop more of his Puni to heal for over 1000 HP. That could be niche. It'd be neat. You can do a lot of things with him. He's close to being decent, but he's not. Next up, Asu is a redrop attack boost skill with Inflate 4. He's very mediocre and just purely outclassed by Mercury Death. So what we can do is, instead of having the attack buff skill, we can give him Link Big, because then he'll be a self-sustainable attack booster. No, he'll be a self-sustainable, chainer. Or you can replace the redrop with Link Big. So now, every time you're linking his Puni and popping them, you're getting a slight attack buff of 8,000 damage per buff or something like that. And then he'll be doing some fairly decent damage. Slippery has no use for it. You would have to replace Mercury Death, but with the 2 unities and a 20% watch, that ain't awful. Next up, Cross Enma. He is beyond help. Awful character. Terrible. Next up, Total Dude. Total Dude is an attack booster with Easy Link and large Puni of his own, has a 65% chance to fill other Soultimate gauges. I mean, replace this with redrop? It's fine. Actually. Next up, Mars Death, a Link Big attack booster. Oh wow, attack boosters really close together. And then large Puni of his own has a 65% chance to fill other Ultimate gauges. Wow, they're almost the same. Replace this one, the large Puni of his own, with redrop, and then it was both good for cheating stages while also being good for score attack. Pretty nice. And then he'll actually be able to be used with Mars also. Next up, Founding Dragon, a pre-fill revive attack booster. Honestly, her kit's pretty fine as is. Like, there's really nothing you can do. Like, she's already, like, pretty good for cheating stages with attack boosts. But if you don't want her to be an attack booster, you can make her a Soultimate filler. Then she'll be able to replace Mercury Death to just be less chainable, but have a revive. Which, I mean, that's fine. So next up, we have Elzamekia, a Link Big Fast Fever attack booster. Why do we have so many attack boosters? She's fine, also good for cheating with stages. And really, there's not really too much we can do to make her like much better. I guess instead of Fast Fever, also give her redrop, because since she's the same tribe as Lotus Ren, you can use that strategy. I guess you can use Lotus Ren, her, the Triple Z Shuka, Komami, the score booster, and then Asuka, I guess. Full Charming team. That ain't bad. Trash talk is really loud. Can you hear that? Probably. Ryuta. Ryuta is a tap inflator with redrop, and I think popping his large Puni. Yeah, his large Puni can fill other Soultimate gauges. Not very useful for the score attack, considering your other 4 Soultimates will be attack boosters, and you can't really refill that. So instead of this, you can either give him the popping any large Puni can fill his Soultimate gauge, or give him redrop, or not redrop, Link Big. Then he's just Lotus Ren, but with Link Big. I mean, redrop. So then you could actually have like strategies with redrop and have him be self-sustainable as well. That would be pretty nice. And then same thing with this guy. Or you could also give a Ryuta Fever Fill like this guy. This guy is a pre-fill redrop tap inflator. He's a higher up. A redrop pre-fill tap inflator. I'm kind of losing my train of thought. So the reason this guy's kind of mediocre is because he just has pre-fill. That only helps with the first fever. So you can give him Fever Fill to help with every fever time, or give him Link Big to make him self-sustainable while also having that watch that buffs his Soultimate multiplier. That's pretty good. Next up, we have Punigami. Doomsday form, I think this is. It's way up here, I think. Yeah, he is an attack booster with Fever Fill and redrop. He's perfect. There is nothing we can do. Because, like, he's the perfect niche for score attack. Amazing. Oh, yeah, there's this guy, too. I forgot. When I was talking about attack boosters with Shady, it could be this guy, Pekko, some attacker, and then, like, you know, there's no score booster, but still. So, yeah, he's good. Next up, Mikey, a Fever Fill, all-popper Soultimate filler. He's way up here. I don't even have the characters. I don't know where he is. Was he before or after? I think he was before. Where was he? Actually, like, where is he? He's here. Okay. I don't have him, so I don't know where he is. An all-popper Soultimate filler with Fever Fill and After Fill. Honestly, he's pretty great as is. There's nothing we can really do about it. I mean, maybe pre-fill instead of Fever Fill. It would take away his score attack strategy, but it would also make him work with Jane. So, you could do that, I guess. But honestly, just keep him as is. Next up, Skulk. An all-popper Inflate 4 with Easy Link and popping a large Puni has a 100% chance to fill his own Soultimate gauge. Instead of Easy Link, give him Revive. Then he's just a Triple Z version of Izana, but with, like, you know, he's a UZ rank. A UZ Izana. Pretty good. Next up is Nino, a fever-filled Link Big all-popper Soultimate filler. There's nothing we can really do, I think, because Eerie is very tightly knitted. They got Taicho Ray, a fast fever all-popper Soultimate filler with Unity, not Soultimate filler, Rearranger. They have Arachnus, who's also a Unity, EX Popper, Beaver Extender, and then Nuclear Bomb that also buffs the fever extender. So there's really nothing we can do. Maybe make her a tap inflator, I guess. Yeah, make her a tap inflator. Because then she'll have Fever Fill and Link Big, and then have the same tribe as a Swimsuit Marine, or wherever she is. Swimsuit Marine, not in here. Whatever. So yeah, tap inflator, I guess. Give her a niche for score attack, better than whatever she's doing now. Next up, Union Nate, an easy link big Soultimate filler. He's fine. He's kind of mediocre. I would give him pre-fill instead of easy link. Or you could give him, actually, you could give him pre-fill instead of link big, because then he'd just be a UZ version of Yamato. And I prefer Yamato to this guy anyways. So, I mean, sure, whatever. You could also make him a tap inflator. I don't know why you would. You could. You could also make him an inflate 4. That could be pretty neat. Next up, we have Natsume. She is a all-popper, stacking all-popper. So basically, use her. She's kind of weak. Use her again. She's a little stronger. And use her a final time. And every time from that on, she's pretty strong. She's got redrop and revive. We could give her, where is she? I always forget where they are at these earlier times. You could give her drop big instead of revive. Then she'd be, a UZ version of, Yasha Enma, Idol Yasha, but with revive. And with Charming having a UZ unity, and potentially this if you don't have Elzamekia. She could hit pretty freaking hard. You could also make her a tap inflator to be a Charming redrop. The trash truck, you really gotta be here. You could also make her a tap inflator to make her a redrop Charming tap inflator with all the Charming buffs we've been getting for score attack. I feel like that'd be pretty good. Next up is Dead Time, an easy link pre-fill tap inflator. It's just make her a Soultimate filler, because then it's the same. It's literally just the same thing as this guy, but it helps with Jane. This is really about it. Next up, we have Black Hole Kyra, a UZ inflate 4 with pre-fill, and popping his large Puni can fill other Soultimate gauges. You see, the problem is he's Enma, so really, the best you could ask for is the stun from Boso Enma. But since we aren't allowed to do that, oh yeah, I forgot. I was like gonna do this. I was like, oh, it'll be quick and easy. Give him Fast Fever. Then, free to play Enma would be Boso Enma, this guy, Oni King, Jane, and then Yasha, I guess. And then it wouldn't be good, like, at all, but it'd be niche. It could be useful for me, because I have God of Armor Fudoma and not New Year's Kyra, so that could be niche. Next up is Wedding Jane. Women Power Fever Extender with Fever Fill. Wherever the heck Wedding Jane is. So anyways, she, isn't very good, because if you don't know, Enma is dominated by men. So, there's a lot of things we could do here. We could just give her a revive as well to make her the same thing, but obviously would be worse than Oni King Enma. We could give her Link Big instead of Fever Fill, so then she could be a self-sustainable, what's it called? It's self-sustainable Fever Extender. Or we could go a little bit off model and give her a variation of Women Power. Instead of Women Power, we could call it the collaboration of the Snake King Army and the Enma clan. Basically, any Enma character or any Kyra character will get the Women Power buff, and obviously Jane would only get one, so she wouldn't get both. So Fudo Boy Gold or God of Armor Fudoma wouldn't get the buff, so it's not technically Unity. Also, I might as well point out, no, we're not going to be giving other characters Women Power type stuff. That's cheating. But this will make a little exception, because there's really nothing we can do with her, because she's very mediocre. Could give her a Ohajiki skill, but that's boring, so we're not going to do that. Next up, Jupiter Asu, a pre-fill, after-fill, Soultimate filler. You give him Fever Fill, I guess. It's kind of really nothing you could do, because he's pretty fine as is. Like, I know I joke about, like, oh, Jupiter Death's, like, so much better, but really, they're pretty similar. I just prefer Jupiter Death, but I know a lot of people prefer Jupiter Asu. Like, honestly, the best thing you could do is reverse time and make him the throne instead of Jupiter Death. Like, that's really the best you could do, because then he would be better. But, no, we can't. So he's fine as is. Next up, Lotus Ren. A Link Big, popping any large Puni can fill his Soultimate gauge, tap inflator. Yeah, Lotus Ren, I called him. I was like, what do I call him normally? Because I looked at his name and it wasn't Lotus Ren. So, he's pretty spammable, as is. So you could either give him redrop to solidify his place as a score attack slave, or honestly, that's kind of it. Because, I mean, Charmin doesn't really have a use for him anymore, besides, like, the seal stages, because, well, 1, Shizu exists, and 2, Punigami exists, Punigatis. So, he's honestly, he's good as is. Next up, we have Rimuru, an all-popper that consumes every ball type on the screen. Very weird, I know. And having a link, it's weird. The skills never return, and it's been pretty mid. Linking his Puni of 4 or larger has a 65% chance to, like, inflate every Puni around the link by 1. Really, really situational, and very weird when it just happens and you forget it. Then you can either have bonus balls fall for like a 5th of his Puni, or have Ohajigi skill. I guess we'll replace this skill and give him pre-fill instead, because this sucks. However, if he had pre-fill, then you could use him as an actual nuclear bomb instead of, like, I don't know, Kirachara or something. So you could have Aqua, Okiyu, Mika, Arle, and then Rimuru. So you could do EX Popper, Aqua, Rimuru, Okiyu, Aqua, Rimuru, Arle, Aqua, and then have a Rimuru finish. So they could absolutely just kill damage balls, by the way, but no one cares. So this really is about the best we can do. Maybe make him an Inflate 4 instead, I guess. I don't know. Soultimate Fill? Probably not, because Okiyu exists. But whatever. Or, if you wanted to cheat a little bit and give a Nyanbo skill, you could give him this girl's skill, where linking a Puni just straight up gives the Soultimate gauge. Like, no inflate or anything, just linking his Puni can give him his Soultimate gauge. That could be cool. I mean, like, we've never seen that skill come back, so we don't know if it's going to be a Nyanbo skill or not, so until it becomes commonplace, we're not going to, but whatever. Next up, we have a friggin' Okiyu. Not Okiyu. Fubuki. Sorry. Cyber Fubuki is an all-popper Soultimate filler with Redrop and Revive or the Golf skill. You can switch place the Revive and the Redrop, so that way this, the Mikakuken skill is either Redrop or the Golf bonus, which you would be like, oh, that's pretty garbage. Why in the world would they do that? Why in the world would they give frickin' Arachnus 3 Mikakuken skills? One of which being bonus balls, the other one being pre-fill. This is very in line with what Puni has. Or you can replace Redrop with pre-fill, or Link Big, or Fever Pill, or something like that. Or make her a Tap Inflator. There's a lot you can do. Pretty neat. Next up, Millium, a OE10 stacking all popper with pre-fill, and popping large Puni can fill her own Soultimate gauge. Honestly, either drop big or redrop. Not redrop. Drop big or link big. Because then she'd be self-sustainable, really chainable, and nuking the enemy with a bomb. It'd be pretty fun. Very funny. Or make her an Inflate 4 or a Soultimate filler. Yeah, there's a lot you can do. She's pretty neat. Although chaining her Soultimate would, in fact, make her worse for the auto slave she is. So yeah, drop big instead of this. Then she's a really good auto slave. Next up, Jupiter Death. A Fever Fill, popping any large Puni can fill his Soultimate gauge, Tap Inflator. I like him. I think he's really fun to use. However, if I could make a change to him, we'd give him Link Big instead of Fever Fill. The reason for that is because then he'd just be Lotus Ren. And apparently, I'd be able to use him pretty well with Tough. He'd be really good, especially considering he's LB10able with almost 1800 attack. It's pretty good. And with the 3 unities Tough has, You would, like, he would far outclass any other option. Like, he would be insane with Link Big. But no, he has Fever Fill. Next up, will the friggin' trash truck go away? Next up is Fudo Boy Gold, a start big critical hit character with all popper Soultimate filling. He was really early this year, but since he's in Yanbo, he's not gonna come back till 2025. Crazy. So basically, it's a 40% chance for a 50% of the critical hit damage above 3,000 damage. So basically, any tiny deal damage above 3k, there's a 40% chance for you to just deal 1.5 times damage. Also, they have this tribe tier list thing, which like isn't what you think it is. It's just a tier list of like, oh, do you have Mikasa? She's pretty good. However, if you have one of these characters, you'd probably want to run them instead. And apparently, Blue Sky Helmet Suzaku's crit chance is only 28%. Huh? Is that 28? That's nothing. That doesn't happen at all. I thought it was 40%. No, it's not. So, further fuel to my I don't like Blue Sky Helmet Suzaku as the EX popper, but whatever. So, like he's pretty nice, I guess. We can give him Link Big to make him like very easy to get the Soultimate of multiple times. Make him an Inflate 4, so then you can get multiple Oni King Enma Soultimates, because then he'd be really good. Like this is pretty fine as is, honestly. Next up, Mercury Death, an all popper Soultimate filler, LB tenable by the way, with with Drop Big and Fever Fill. We're going to replace the Fever Fill with what are we going to replace it with? Because he's pretty good as is. There's like he's actually like insanely good. You could make him an Inflate 4 instead, because then you'd be able to get like he'd be really spammable with like imagine Obi but a UZ LB tenable character. God, that'd be insane. Yeah, make him Inflate 4. make him self-sustainable, because then you wouldn't have to use any of these other weak Ultimates, because he hits harder than Kegure Zochten. He'd be insane. Actually, you could also make him a Tap Inflator. He'd be pretty good for score attack. Sure, why not? Next up, Itsuki, a fast fever afterfill fever extender. Honestly, she's pretty fine as is for what Brave has. The only argument, I'd maybe give her a fever fill instead, just because, I don't know, then you could do like double fever strategies pretty consistently. I mean, sure. Or instead of instead of fever extending, we could make her a Tap Inflator. Then she would have afterfill and Tap Inflating. That could be pretty good. You could do this with any Tap Inflator, by the way. Just give them afterfill. They're amazing at that. They're just amazing. Because, like, I'm fairly certain it essentially would just let them be infinitely chainable. Like, imagine what you can do with a Big G, but without Big G when he's banned. That'd be insane. But I do like the Fever Extend, so we're going to keep her like this and give her Fever Fill. Next up, Kegure Zochten and Shuka. They are perfect as is. They are fast fever fill, fever extenders. Nothing we can do. They are perfect. They fill their role well. They're amazing. You could give them Link Big instead, but I wouldn't do that because I don't care. Next up, Jingi, a fever extender with afterfill and fever fill. Honestly, he's pretty good. He's pretty good as is. He's really chainable. However, the afterfill doesn't really do much for him, considering that you have access to Arachnus, and since you want to get another BD Soultimate anyways, the afterfill doesn't really help out too much. Also, his attack is really low. What the? Good thing he's LB tenable, so that is his attack stat. You could give him Tap Inflate, but obviously no, he's a great fever extender. Like Sallitine says right here, you could give him Fast Fever instead, but because you probably want to use Taicho Ray, I would prefer to not. You could give him Link Big instead of Fever Fill, then he'd be pretty spammable. But since you want to use BD anyway, I don't know if you want to. So yeah, just give him Fast Fever, I guess. Yeah, he'd be fine. Next up, we have Suisei, a fast fever fill, or Hollow Unity fever extender. She's down here. Honestly, she's pretty perfect as is. There's really nothing we could do. besides like combine the Mikakukin skills, give her 3 skills. Sure, why not? She's a collab character. That'll make you spend money for her. Next up, Clone BD, a Feverfill. Well, first he's an all popper that does like double damage with a combo over 100. By double, I mean his Soultimate multiplier is doubled. He has Feverfill and Dragon Slayer Unity for 28% HP and attack to Taicho, Rei, and Jingi. Honestly, he's just give him Link Big instead, because then you wouldn't have to use other Soultimates. You could just spam him. He'd nuke the enemy for like 300,000 damage. Do him 3 times, 900k in 3 Soultimates. Busted. Amazing. Next up, we have Omatsu, a redrop of, what is she exactly? She's an EX popper. Oh, we already have more of those. And here's Kyra. Anyways, Omatsu, where the heck? Here. Omatsu, an EX popper, where popping a large Puni of her own can fill other Soultimate gauges and redrop. Just give her pre-fill. Like, that's it. Just give her a pre-fill. Or, make her a tap inflator. You could make her a tap inflator, because then she'd be a heartful tap inflator, which is niche, you know. Why not? Pre-fill or a tap inflator. Either one, because she ain't going to get used. Next up, Ryuta, a pre-fill EX popper with redrop. You just replace the redrop with Fast Fever, I guess. Yeah. Replace redrop with Fast Fever, make him a Tamonten Ren. Same thing with Jane. Just give her Fast Fever, because she's the same thing as this guy. Give him Fast Fever, because that'd be pretty cool. Next up, Punigami. Also, another character we can solve by just giving him Fast Fever, because it's bonus balls. Pre-fill EX popper, give him Fast Fever. Pretty cool. Next up, Tamonten Ren. A Feverfill EX popper with Fast Fever as well. You could, if you wanted to. Don't really know why you would. But instead of Feverfill, you give him Easy Link. Make him a Yuzi Gunshin. Wouldn't really be too useful, but hey, good. You could. So yeah, he's pretty fine as is. Next up, Marine. And a pre-fill, after-fill EX popper. She's up here. Yeah, she was really early. So she's pretty fine. You could give her Easy Link, Fast Fever instead. Could give her Easy Link too. The same thing with the other guys. You could give them Easy Link instead. Because she's pretty fine as is. She's amazing EX popper. Does her job well. And same thing with Fumihime. She's literally just Nyanbo Marine. However, instead of pre-fill, she has Feverfill. So yeah, you could also make her a tap inflator, because Natsune exists. So we could just not use her. Make her a tap inflator. Make her a score attack queen. Make her our normal EX popper. We wouldn't care. So yeah, she'd be pretty good. Next up, Mika, a drop big Feverfill EX popper. Honestly, she's just fine as is. Like, she's an amazing EX popper. Just like, honestly, what she has now, just great, because she makes her chainable. I know Feverfill and drop big I say is pretty redundant, but for the EX popper, I think it's fine. Pretty cool. Could give her Easy Link instead of drop big, whatever. Ichika's she's perfect. Easy Link pre-fill EX popper. Great. You could also give her, or give any of these characters, since Maximus K has the skill, I feel like we can give any of the EX poppers this skill. That skill being, after using this character's Soultimate, which, Doll U over here has, after using her Soultimate, a big Puni can fall, and she's a pre-fill EX popper. Apparently it also gets higher combos and helps get other support. So, yeah, that's pretty useful. Next up, Demon God Nate, an AoE EX popper with Feverfill and Unity. Just don't make him an AoE, because like Shady and Brave, like a lot of people compare their damage. However, it's actually a lot closer than it should be, because this guy's an AoE. So if he wasn't an AoE, then Brave would be a lot farther ahead in terms of damage. So yeah, just don't make him an AoE. Next up, Natsuyomi. Beach Natsuyomi specifically. A starter ranged linking Puni fills Salt Gauge, I guess. Inflate 4. honestly, she's pretty fine as is. Like, really good kit. The best, I guess, if you could change one thing about her. Oh yeah, we're not allowed to change tribes, but if you want to make a change, I guess change her tribe to be something. Something is not mysterious. Tough, I guess. I don't know. Next up is Agatha. She is an easy, no, she's not. She's a pre-fill all popper fever extender with the what's it called? Fever power? Yeah, except it's a lot worse than it was with Aqua. You see, she gets the attack buff. However, she only heals 400 HP, and she gets like a budget easy link. I know, like, we're not supposed to, like, be giving these, like, collab skills to other characters, but she has the skill, but it's just a lot worse. Just give her Aqua's fever power, and she's amazing. Like, Heartful is, like, insanely broken with this character. Next up, Seiryu, a fever extender with Unity and popping any large Puni can fill his Soultimate gauge. Give him Link Big. Make him a UZ low tier shoe. Then he'd be good. Yeah, that's about it. Basically. He's really much just a stat stick and an 8th Soultimate if you need to. Next up, Arachnus. Like I said, I don't know if I said it back then. I don't know if he was out back then. Probably was. Change the position of the redrop and the pre-fill. So then, when you have his ideal kit, he is a pre-fill Soultimate filler with Unity. Literally just like these two, except worse, because no LVs or Nyamba multipliers. Next up, Puni Goddess. A women power pre-fill tap inflator. Instead of women power, you could give her redrop, give her afterfill to make her busted. You could make her a score attack slave. You could give her inflate 4. Where is she? She's down here. Make her an inflate 4, but then just doing the same thing as Komaki Komami. But so yeah, you could do a lot. Make her a score attack slave. You know, pretty fair. You could also make her have both women power and Ohajiki skills, so she's buffing other women while also being an Ohajiki slave. Sure, why not? Next up, Komaki Komami, a redrop Unity inflate 4. Give her Link Big instead of redrop, or make her a tap inflator. Obviously, I like normal gameplay over score attack, so give her Link Big or Fever Fill or something, you know. Something that makes her Soultimate easy to get, and then problem solved. Next up, Black Hole Asu. He is a Unity Revive Tap Inflator. We could do this one of two ways. We could do one, do the same argument we did with Jupiter Asu and make him the throne, please. Or be the more realistic option, make him a Soultimate filler instead of a Tap Inflator. The reason for this is because Galapion, who was the previous slot that Asu now has, is also, it literally just is the same skills, but is a Soultimate filler. And the Soultimate fill with Jane and Hinazal and Lolita Pecora and Suisei is a lot more useful than a Tap Inflate. So yeah, next up, Oni King Enma, a Fever Fill Revive Fever Extender. He's goated. Give him Link Big instead. That's really all you gotta do. Give him Link Big instead of Fever Fill, and then he's really good, because then he'd be self-sustainable. Where is he? Is he over here? Yeah, he's over here. Give him Link Big instead of Fever Fill, then he's self-sustainable pretty well. You won't have to use New Year's Kyra at all. Pretty cool. Next up, Summer Setsuna, a Fast Fever Start Arranged Soultimate filler. Honestly, she's pretty great as is. Like, she is the Fast Fever for Heartful now. The Start Arranged is amazing. Like, there's really nothing you could change about the kit. Like, the best you could do is give her a 3rd skill, but obviously we're not allowed to do that. Next up, Red White Elzemechia. Oh, I'm tired. Red and White Elzemechia, a UZ Unity Soultimate filler with pre-fill. Again, amazing. Same thing with the Okayu. They're perfect. Next up, Future Ren and Santa Natsuyomi. So Santa Natsu, they're the same thing, so we'll talk about them both right here. EX pop, no, not EX popper, a fever extender with fever fill and unity. Just change this to be link big, then they're self-sustainable. Imagine how busted tough would be if this guy had link big. So you'd never again do you have to use triple OPC. You could just use this guy over and over again. Be insane. Then you wouldn't even need to bring Asu, because why do you need help getting this guy's link big? Pretty cool. Next up is Megumin. Oh boy, this is going to be a funny one. So Megumin is the timed explosion Soultimate, you know, where it's a countdown for like 20 seconds after you pop the balls. She has Revive and has an Ohajiki skill or Easy Link. We're going to be devious. Give her pre-fill. Yes, give her pre-fill instead of Easy Link. Then she would be amazing, because no longer would you need any sort of help getting her. Union Kenma falls off down a cliff. Give her pre-fill, Revive, super nuclear bomb, Oro Hajiki skill. Now you actually have to have a reason to get those books, the skill change books. Yeah, and then you can safely get away with bringing NOA. Brave would actually be... Brave would be a lot easier if she had pre-fill. God, it'd be amazing. Next up, Aqua. Fast Fever, Fever Power. So she's got 4 skills in one, basically. She's perfect as is. Nothing we can do about her. And then very anticlimactic, but same thing with Jane. She's a another timed explosion nuclear bomb with guard and healing on using her Soultimate. Really, there's nothing we can do, because like she's pretty insane as is. No Nyambo multiplier, so it's not as insane. I guess if you want to make one change, give her the Nyambo multiplier, which basically a Nyambo multiplier is, for example, New Year's Kyra has a higher Soultimate multiplier than there's a triple Z fever extender than Knight Nyarther. However, it is a lower Soultimate multiplier than Oni King Enma, so it's like an in between. So you give her that, I guess. So yeah, honestly, she's pretty amazing as is. Nothing we can change. So yeah, a fun little video. I like doing these because it's pretty fun to imagine what if we just had nuclear bombs with pre-fill. So anyways, hope you enjoyed. Hope you had fun, and yeah, bye.